Oh, that was such a weird
Ay,
part.
caramba.
Ay, caramba.
Ay, caramba. I'm Bartman. Colonel, this is Bartman.
Hey everybody, I am Player 1 and my name is Damien. Welcome to another Retro Game Night. I am joined with Player 2. That guy there, his name is Kyle.
Good evening.
Player 3, Josh.
Greetings on this dark night.
And Player 4, Ben.
I'm Batman.
And we are here to chat everything all about things in retro gaming, and sometimes we sneak in some new stuff too. How y'all doing tonight?
Doing well.
Dancing with the devil in the pale moonlight.
That's
I'm
right.
Batman.
That's right. So we are here to talk about something really awesome today.
Something near and dear to your heart.
Something very near and dear to my heart.
My Little Pony. Got it.
My Little Pony, The Revenge.
Super Monkey Ball.
Yes.
Batman, 1989, the movie. And we got the video game made for the NES. And now we want to compare the two. We want to compare what we thought of the movie with the game, vice versa. Let's get started into it.
What's interesting is that when we start the story, Joker's already Joker. We don't see anything in the beginning of how Joker was created, how he became the mastermind that took over the criminal underworld.
Clown Prince of Crime.
Exactly. And with the game, we just jump right into Batman already knowing that Joker is the one who killed his parents.
Right. He already knows, which in the movie it was almost towards the end of the film that
Spoilers.
he finds out. Yeah, spoiler.
Hello.
I'm sorry. If you guys haven't seen this film,
Hello.
if you guys
Shame
haven't
on
seen
you.
this film, shame on you. All right.
There's plenty of fans out there that should be seeing this already.
Please. So,
Please.
please. So, we find out midway the movie, almost towards the end, that Joker was responsible. Jack Napier was responsible for killing Thomas and Martha Wayne. But in the game, we see Batman already knows straight up that it's him.
And one thing that's kind of wonderful about the movie is that it does show an origin to the Joker. And while we all enjoyed The Dark Knight with Heath Ledger's portrayal of the Joker, we never did get to find out how he got those scars. But
Right.
in the 1989 Batman, we did get to see that, at least one origin that is in the comics, even though it just jumps right into that action for the game.
And that was kind of cool that the movie did have a nice origin story to it. We haven't seen the brand new Joker movie being developed and coming out, but before that, this is as good as it got as far as having a movie background origin story of the Joker, which was brilliantly done.
Good old Mr. Jack Napier.
Good old Mr. J. So the game, you go in, you drop literally into the streets of Gotham,
Right.
and tell us about some of the bad guys that we see in the game that were not in the movie.
Well, some of the first ones that we actually run across is called the Shakedowns. They're the ones that are just running straight at you as Batman.
Sounds like a dance.
Doing a little shakedown with Batman, getting punched in the face. Which one's getting the shakedown, by the way?
I don't know.
I
just
they're
don't know.
doing a shakedown. Yeah, shakedown. That's a criminal.
So the
that is criminal activity.
The shakedown would be that'd be a criminal activity or code, right?
Coercing people to give over protection money.
Okay, there you go.
Yes, that's what it is. Yes.
It sounded almost sarcastic.
No.
Yes, that's what it is. Yes, Josh, good job.
Exactly. Yes. We have the Shakedowns,
Brilliantly
Taken
called
straight from
shakedowns.
Contra.
and we have another one that's called the Mobile Tracker. Those are the little ones that you feel like you
The
have to
little-
crouch down to punch to
Oh,
destroy.
like the little tank
cars.
things.
Yeah,
Yeah,
little
yeah,
tank
yeah.
car
The
things.
little
Yeah,
robots
okay.
that are also in Mega Man.
Little did you know.
Are they really?
It just I think when you're on the same level as them, they go faster.
They zip
If
faster
I
over
remember,
to you.
just like
Yeah,
in
they're-
Mega Man, there's
yeah.
certain.
On Mega, they're the spinning spike guys that would go back and forth. You
Yeah,
shoot
I
them
mean,
with your blaster once, and they would stop and pause, and
Yeah.
you could jump over them.
They
and
just
do-
remind me.
Yeah.
I never thought of that. That's
Except
cool.
for in Batman, you can actually destroy them this time.
Right.
Whereas in Mega Man, they're just an
Well,
annoyance.
it depends. If you have if you have the cut thing, I think that will destroy them. Anyway.
I'd never found a way to
okay.
destroy them in Mega Man.
But in
that's
Batman,
in
you
Mega
could
Man.
you could easily do it with your fist, which is nice. You
Correct.
could literally
What's-
punch them and
What's funny is that
Yeah.
it seems like there's a 1 pixel that if you're standing up as Batman, you just keep punching straight ahead. You'll actually be able to hit them and destroy them. You don't have to crouch down to do it, which I thought was kind of
That's
nice because when you have the shakedown guys running at you and you have the little guys too, you feel like you're having to stand up and crouch down to do it, but you could just sit there and just punch.
The shakedown guys, when they're coming towards you, they don't really look like they're rushing you. They look like they're going for a nice evening jog. Have you noticed that? Like they're
Maybe
not
they
really
are.
like, aggressively going towards you.
I think they feel protected because they might be wearing some type of armor or something, so they feel like, oh, well, we could take down this guy. He's just one guy in a crazy bat suit. Who's this nut job? I
Right.
can just take him down with his bulletproof vest.
Because remember, in the movie, the thugs did have uniforms. They had fancy jackets.
Right.
Almost looked like they were SWAT team
Yeah.
guys that were maybe paid off, but no, they just had their own uniforms.
And in the game, I guess that wouldn't translate very good. They would all look the same. It would look kind of boring.
And you wouldn't want them to look like cops either.
Right, they could be mistaken for cops having black outfits, and it just, again, it seemed like the game is going away from black altogether outside of the background. That's why Batman's like a purplish blue, if you notice that, which is interesting, because you look at it and just not really Batman's colors.
Well, that's also a limitation on the NES software itself. There's a lot more shades of blue than there is any of the other colors, which is why you'll see a lot more of the portraits and stuff as Joker when we have the bigger screen ones. They are able to get more detail with the blue shade to be able to do the different definitions. You'll see on Batman on his shoes to be able to get the shine on them to kind of make it look a little like they've been polished. There's a different shade of a blue on there that makes it seem that way. It's the reason why Mega Man is also blue. They're able to do a lot more detail with that blue shade.
Now that you say it, I don't really recall many NES games having like gray, like a gray color.
Right.
Maybe like Zelda 2, I can recall maybe a few points, or like, Mario, but it seems like gray really isn't used like
It's more of a Game Boy thing.
maybe a Game Boy thing because it's black and white. But
that
Batman
Matrix.
could have been easily a gray suit if they didn't want to do black. But in this case, they went purple and blue because it had more depth to it.
It's a limitation on the NES software because you're able to have the 13 colors in the background and 12 colors in front. So that's 25 colors on the screen at one time where they're able to get the detail on it. So you can kind of play with the software and get double that on there, but then that might be where we get that slowdown. And we get that a lot with just the normal software of the NES.
True.
Yeah, I noticed that when we played it, that there was some slowdown, and I know there were some graphical limitations in the time.
Yeah.
Well, between the moving backgrounds, the enemies, and Batman, there is a lot going on the screen at any given time.
It's a lot to process through.
Right.
But then one of the other characters that we find on the streets of Gotham, and we see this in the movie as well, is that ninja guy. Remember him from the
Right,
movie?
right.
He has that samurai sword.
In the alleyway in the movie.
His name in the game is the KG Beast.
The KGBs, that's so brilliant.
You didn't look Russian to me.
Yeah.
Where does the KGB even like fit into Batman's world?
Maybe it's just someone that Joker decided to hire to be part of his goon squad.
Okay, I'll go with that. In the movie, we had this epic fight scene with that ninja who just goes absolutely ape crazy on Batman with
Right.
swords. Didn't really play it like that in the game.
If you're able to catch him right as he enters the screen, you can literally just take your batarangs and just throw the batarangs at him until he just gets knocked out, and there is no threat to him whatsoever.
Looking KG Beast up here, it looks like he actually is part of the DC universe. I'm not totally sure when he was introduced.
Oh, another DC character that was put into the game. I wasn't
Interesting.
aware of this DC character at all.
It just seemed like it was a regular goon that had a samurai sword.
First,
And he knows martial arts.
first
Yeah.
appearance, March 1988.
Before the game and the movie. Huh.
Interesting.
So they actually did do their research.
They did. And here I thought they just threw in a bunch of characters that didn't fit with the movie. There he is.
Wow.
He pulled it up.
Except for he has like a gun arm.
Hey, maybe they changed him up later. I don't know.
He got that was after the fight with Batman, and he damaged his arm, and so then he got upgraded.
On steroids.
I'm steroid man.
Right after the fight with KG Beast, then we get to the boss, as far as I remember, right?
Right. Yeah.
And then who is that?
We're on the steps of City Hall, and we have this guy flying in the air, shooting fireballs down at Batman. That is Killer Moth.
Killer Moth. Now, he is a DC character. He wasn't in any of the other games, to my knowledge, or TV series, animated series, not even the animated movies I can think of. But he might have been, right? Brave and Bold? Is that what you're...
I'm thinking, if anything, he'd probably be in the Brave and the Bold. They really went pretty deep into Batman mythos and the Rogues Gallery.
And they might have shown up in one of the Teen Titans shows as well, if I recall correctly.
Okay, so then there's a couple there that he would be intertwined with. But other than that, I just knew him from the comics. And they introduced him into the game that's supposedly based on the movie. So I wonder, was there possibly a Killer Moth to be in the movie that they maybe couldn't do because of lack of CGI and production?
I'm not sure. I think it's a common thing if you really think about it. There's a lot of games that are based on movies where they do try to keep the general storyline to the movie, but then they'll add all the other characters and villains from throughout the Rogues Gallery. Spider-Man 2 for the PlayStation 2, I believe, is one example where the main villain is Dr. Octopus, but then they throw in, I believe they throw in the Scorpion and the Shocker.
Lizard, whatever.
Yeah. So even though they're not in the movie, it's something other than just throwing random thugs at your hero until the time comes where you get to the end and, okay, here's the big bad. Well,
yeah.
let's add a little more enthusiasm by throwing a couple extra villains in there.
I think it'd be kind of cool to think about it like this. The movie was only able to show certain parts of it, but the game can be a complement to it. So the things that are happening in the game are kind of happening in between the different cuts
There you go.
that we see in the movie, and thus kind of giving you a fuller, more interactive story than just the movie is allowed to give you, and what the game is also allowed to give you.
Right, so the movie itself, really, you're seeing what's happening with Joker, but for all you know, Batman was taking care of his quote-unquote side mission with other villains in the area.
I don't know, I kind of missed that boss battle with those gun-toting mimes.
So we see Gotham City Hall in the movie at this part in the game, where in the movie... Joker comes up with the pen, taking out the crime boss's thug with that feathered pen, and he stabs him in the throat with it, and he claims,
"The pen is truly mightier than the sword."
Thank you, Ben. That's exactly word for word what he says, and therefore there's a big shootout. Everyone gets down except Batman and Vicky Vale decide to stand up and go,
What's going on?
"What's going on?" And then they just,
we're the protagonists.
Don't
we're
get
not
shot.
gonna die.
Yeah, they're like, we have an invincibility card. We're the main characters of the movie. We're not going to get shot.
And we're beautiful, so...
And we're gorgeous.
Look at our frilly hair.
Look at our
Hollywood types.
Look at our Hollywood 80s hair.
They had to pull out that Jerry curl.
Right. So that's something that was in the game and in the movie. And then after that part, we see an epic little cutscene with the Batmobile in the game.
Yep. He's
And
having to
then
drive. And then we are going to the second stage, which was a factory.
Okay.
So generic.
And I think is it supposed to be Axis Chemicals, which is what we see in the movie?
It seemed like it, because it was the whole machine gun door entrance.
We did see that same scene that we see in the movie in the game, where he does the machine guns. It cuts a horizontal line across it, and he comes sliding in.
But that in the movie comes much later, so they integrated a later portion of the movie into an earlier part of the game.
Or it could just be another factory where he's just like, hey, this is how I enter factories. Sliding in.
Yeah. This is how Batman enters every place. It's just shooting everything horizontally.
Here's my
there was a door there. Okay.
Here's my skeleton key.
Bat skeleton key. Thank you.
In the game, we're seeing these like robots. I remember seeing these very slow moving robots that swing at you extremely
Monsters or
slow.
something.
The enemies that we see in stage 2 is one's called the javelins. They attack with a long spear. We have the drop claw, which is that enemy that's on the ceiling that opens up and drops bombs on you. That's the thing that you can use to harvest like the power-ups and stuff, being able to get health. If you just sit there and just punch at them, when the bombs come at you, they'll drop the items and you can pick them up, so you can harvest those if you need to grind.
Wait a second, are you jumping ahead? I thought that was the third stage, because I remember the second stage you're trying to dodge the chemical, the green stuff at the bottom, and if you drop down you get hurt.
I'm just telling you what's in the instruction manual. The instruction manual lets us know what stage each of these enemies show up in, which is kind of cool about these manuals.
Isn't that cool that manuals did that?
It's so great.
It was so
Whatever
nice of
happened
him
to
do
that?
Yeah.
Like, they don't show us anything now. It's just like,
Well, because now they're all like, hey, look, there's that enemy over there. They only show up here. And it's not in the manual anymore.
Well, it's all
This is
online
what
now.
you do.
Yeah, you're right. It's all online now.
Yeah.
So
And
they
besides,
don't
we're
care.
men. We don't need instruction manuals.
I mean, I know part of it. I get it. They're trying to save paper, not having to produce all that. But at the same time, it was really neat to have for the collector and all of us that could hold
Right.
on to that and read it. Get a little backstory for each of these characters, which is what we're doing right now. We're actually talking about each of these characters like they actually mean something. Whereas games nowadays, it's like, oh, just look it up online or just don't worry about it. Just
Or
go
those
ahead and play
enemies
through
are
it.
just throwaway enemies. They're just something that was there to look good at that one specific second, and then they're gone the next.
Yeah, they tried as much as they could to give a background because nobody had internet. So here's as
Right.
much info as you can get.
We have 3 more enemies that show up in here. We have the shakedowns again. Deadshot shows up. And we also have the Night Slayers.
Where is Deadshot in this? Because how do I not remember this? And
Those
I've
are the
played this
ones-
many times.
Those are the guys that have the guns that would shoot once and then duck down and then stand up and shoot again.
So there's many Deadshots, is what you're saying.
There's multiple
It's
Deadshots.
not
Even though there's
the
only one
Deadshot.
Deadshot in the comics.
It's Deadshot's minions.
Okay, that sounds
Dead
more
sheets.
plausible.
Many
That's why they
dead
only have
sheets.
Nerf guns. Because if you notice, these slow-moving darts. I mean, really slow-moving.
They are very slow.
They're just slow darts with nerve gas on
By the
them.
time the dart fires from the gun and gets towards Batman, he's already had like 3 batarangs hit him.
That is just a portrayal of how quick Batman's reaction is. They have to slow it down for us to be able to see how quick Batman can dodge.
So he's the Flash. Got it.
Yeah, exactly.
Quicksilver from X-Men.
Quick
Got it.
Flash.
Oh, I don't know. I didn't really remember seeing Batman dodge many bullets in the movies or in that movie because he just let them hit him because body armor.
Yeah, the body armor could take all of it, apparently.
As long as they don't shoot him in the mouth.
Right.
Oh, we have another enemy. I just found another one.
Yay!
Sorry. we also had
Which enemy could be this thrilling? Yes, Kyle. What enemy is this?
the mobile home mine.
Oh yeah, those
ones-
suckers.
The ones that would
that.
sit still.
It would
but
just
then-
be so still until you walk close enough and be like, "Here I come!"
I just like how it's the mobile home, just because it actually moves towards you.
Yeah, those things were awful, man.
The description, they were awful. They were so easy. You just drop down and then you jump out of the way, or
Not
you
when
jump
you're
over
5
them.
years old trying to play it.
Jump over
okay?
them.
Just saying, I'm trying to remember
And
when I was younger.
and sometimes they were in tight spaces, so you really couldn't jump or grab onto a wall or something.
Jump backwards.
Or you had a shakedown guy, jogging towards you. Here I come to save the day. And you had that.
So, our boss for this level, because we have 3 different sections in this level. It's the factory part. We have a bunch of dripping chemicals that we have to dodge, all the enemies we have to fight. No one that's really particular to just this level, like it was in the first one where we had the KG Beast only showing up in that one. So we actually get into the boss of this one, which is kind of cool that they didn't always choose a person that he had to fight.
Right.
He had to go after what this one was called machine intelligence.
And
Is
it was
the name of the
trippy
boss.
because there was multiple parts to hit on this thing. and
Right.
when you would kill one part of it, then another part would come alive suddenly and start shooting you a different way.
Right. Yeah. With this one, we had the first challenge you had to come across was the 2 cannons that were shooting at you. You had to take both of those out, and then you had a weak point that had like shooting lasers going down, and you could either jump on the conveyor belt on top and try to dodge that, and then just get really close and punch it, or you could just shoot your spear guns at it. But then once those parts were down, then the main eye, basically, of the machine came alive and shot 3 pellets at you. And you had to take that one out to destroy the machine intelligence.
There were some large pellets, if that was a pellet.
Those are some pretty
What are you
big
doing,
pellets.
Batman?
Like cannonballs is more like it.
Like,
I can't allow you to do that.
well, it was like a 3-pronged cannon that shot at you.
Yeah, pretty much.
That just goes to show how beefy Batman is. He could take one of those to the chest and just keep trucking.
Yeah. Just takes that. He's like, I don't have time to bleed.
Magic body armor.
So in the movie, when did he go down to the sewers?
He didn't.
Did
Twice.
He didn't?
No.
This is why I think this is something that is happening when Joker is doing something and Batman's having to take care of something else while we see Joker doing something.
He had to go
weird.
down and visit the Ninja Turtles.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Took my joke.
Of course I did.
So,
No, he didn't do that in the movie.
well, that's what I figured.
Straight out the sewer.
And that's why I have that idea. But our third level is the sewers. Do you guys remember anything about the sewers?
I just remember that level stinks.
It had the big jumping beastly dudes. That's what I remember.
With the
Manly,
claws.
beastly.
Yeah.
Those were so annoying. Once they locked onto you, they were relentless, just jumping, and it was
Right.
really hard to hit them.
Yeah.
What were they called?
Man beasts.
No, that's your nickname.
Beastly men.
Those enemies were the
Dude
Jaders.
They were called what? The Jaders?
Jader.
Jaders. Okay.
Joker made this biological weapon to jump on Batman. Literally the description of them.
And then after that, what other enemies are we seeing besides the Jaders?
We have ones that are called heat waves. They fire a fire gun at them. Those are guys that are like crouching that looks like they're shooting like a flamethrower.
Ooh, that's a DC character.
Is it?
Which ones?
Heatwave? Yeah.
Why is it not familiar to me? So this is what prior to the movie, comic wise. So like
Pretty sure. I mean,
so we're talking.
because he's a villain.
Okay,
in the DC
and, but
universe.
we're not saying that this is a boss fight. So these are many heat waves,
Yeah, these
right?
are many. These are many people
Like-
who
So
have
like
the
heat
guns.
waving. That's the
like the
plural.
Deadshot thing. There's many Deadshots.
Seems like it.
Dead
Right.
Shotson.
And then another one that we have that shows up in this one is called the EEV. It says it shoots like a cannon.
Oh, is it the one
Oh,
that's
that's the
stationary
claw.
like a claw?
Okay,
Yeah.
that's what it was.
Yeah.
I was trying to think about what that one was called. It was interesting with that enemy because it seemed like they stationed it far away to make you feel like you had to attack the body of the enemy or of the machine that shot out the claw. But all you really had to do was just be right at the edge of its reach and
Yeah.
just punch it, and you could knock it out that way.
Yeah.
So
Right.
its hitbox was on the chain itself too.
I missed that one. I didn't catch that.
Did you keep trying to go at the main body of the thing?
I kept throwing batarangs at them to try to just
Oh,
knock
okay.
them out from afar.
It seemed like a lot of these enemies, you were either able to punch them and take them out or just use a batarang.
Yeah.
Only when it was a bigger enemy, kind of like a tank that we'll see later on, that you really had to get out the spear gun. But the Jaders was the
Like
only
that,
thing
like
I
that
found.
long shotgun that Batman has. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, the second weapon that he
Right.
has, because you have
Right.
the batarangs, you have the spear gun, and you have the dirks.
Uh huh.
So the spear gun, which was like that rocket gun, that
Right.
he
Right.
would
The
use,
rocket one.
would be good for certain things, and the Jaders was the enemy that I used the dirks on, because when they right as they appeared on the screen, if you kept them on the edge, they would just keep jumping up and down. They wouldn't attack
Yeah.
Batman
Right.
yet.
Right.
So if you were to pull out your dirks there and time their jumps and throw it there, 3 of those would knock them out. And then just one of the rocket icons gives you 10 points and would refill one of those guys. So you could really easily refill your weapon energy.
So no dead shots, no Dirks, no Jaders, none of this is in the movie, and yet this is in the sewer, which is not in the movie yet again.
Batman needs to use specific weapons for certain circumstances, and those circumstances were not in the movies.
Those circumstances were not in the movie. Now, you could arguably say if you're a Batman nut, that you could say for fun that this could be, again, alternate part of what you saw in the movie is taking place, and for some strange reason that there's a bunch of monsters instead of just henchmen.
They were the biological weapons that Joker created. I mean, come on.
Joker got really busy. He had a lot to do.
He got busy.
He got busy.
He loves his art.
Wanna make some art, darling?
Oh, that was such a weird part.
Yeah, it was.
So, Kyle, are we at the boss now?
Yes, we are, Joshua.
Joshua.
We, at the end of the sewers, we come across the boss. His name is the Electrocutioner. And he is a warrior that is the strongest one on Earth, capable of transmitting a moon attacker, which says it's a 10 mega gig volt killer beam out of his arm.
And I'm sure you all know him from the comics, but then he was also in Arkham Origins, so he was in a other
I didn't
Batman
get that
game.
far into that game. I did play a little bit of it, but I didn't get too far into Origins.
So he was in that, and now I didn't realize that was him in this game.
Although
I don't remember
he's
him having any moon powers. In,
Yeah, what is this moon power? I
Origin.
wonder. Does it say on the
It's
instruction
definitely a
booklet?
unique version of him.
all it says is a 10 mega giga
Great Scott.
volt. So I don't know what a mega giga is.
Mega Giga, huh?
MEGAGIGA, mega giga volt killer beam. In the game, when it shows him power up his arm, and it shows like a bolt that comes out of his arm like that, and then when he throws his arm down, it does like a shockwave across the map.
Right.
But this is the easiest boss ever, because all you really have to do is go up on top of one of the cliffs, crouch down, and punch.
Yeah.
You do it for about 5 minutes and then he's dead.
Punching isn't a bad thing in this game. Like, you would think that would be the weakest thing, but actually works quite well if you're okay with being close quarters with the enemy.
As I kept playing through this game, I kept comparing it to Mega Man because it's one of my favorite games to play. And it felt like the punching in this game was really comparable to the Mega Blaster for Mega Man. Simple and easy weapon to use, and as long as you figured out how it worked, you could take out 90% of the enemies in the game with it.
Right. Didn't have to be super powerful. You just had a good timing with it. You
Right,
could get
yeah.
it down.
At least with Mega Man, you could charge it up and kind of change up your attack, whereas this one you're just like, try to spam the button as fast as you can to keep the punches going. But it felt the same way. If you were able to know how to use it, jump on the guys effectively, stop right before them, and crouch down and just punch, you were able to take out a lot of stuff pretty easily.
After that takes us to stage 4.
Yep, and we go into another factory.
Yet
I'm not
another
sure
factory.
which factory this
Is
one
this
is.
the
though.
one with the TV screens in the background with Joker's face popping up?
Yes.
Okay.
The enemies that we actually see in this one, again, we see the heat waves. So those are the ones that are shooting the flamethrowers out
Right.
at you. Their range of attack is pretty long.
Yeah.
They're pretty consistent in their pattern, so they're pretty predictable. They're just a pain in the butt to have to get through.
You can either jump right before and time it before they fire their flamethrower, or you can stand back and use either the dirk or the rocket gun.
Actually, using the batarangs on these guys was pretty effective because it was within the reach of them. All you had to do was just throw 2 of them, and they were done.
Okay.
So that's the quickest way to take care of those guys.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree. The batarang is kind of the best move you could do for everyone.
Plus, it only used 1 of your energy, and you had 99 of your weapon energy. So it was one of the more efficient attacks to be able to use.
Right.
We also have the mobile trackers. Those are the little rogue like tanks that are gonna take out Batman's ankles.
None of those in the movie.
We see the drop claws in here that drop those mines. Easy to harvest those things to get your power-ups or your life back up if you needed it. And we also see a new one called the Rail Runner. This one is something that moved back and forth, left and right on a track. Mm-hmm. It kind of almost looked like a gear that would be sliding back and forth.
Yeah.
It didn't show up until the very end of this level as you were dropping down and having to go up and around to the exit. There are the parts that were just dropping down. You only really see 2 of them in this level. You don't really destroy them. You just kind of try to
avoid them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're pains in the butt.
Yeah. So then we get to the boss then. Who's that?
And that one was called the Dual Container Alarm.
Oh, him. Yeah, I remember him from the comics.
Yeah, it actually referred... funny thing about that, the manual actually refers to it as a he.
Oh, okay.
No, I remember him.
These are little... It's a control device that controls 2 boxes. And as the boxes move around the perimeter of the level, it would shoot out these fireballs at Batman when it came pretty much to his level. And it says he is programmed to trigger firebombs.
Yeah, it was different in the comics.
Was it a guy like sitting inside of it shooting the bombs?
Well, no, but yeah, several of them, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yes, but no, but yes.
No, yeah, no, really, yeah.
This is the one that I got stuck on, that I needed to get cheats to do it. I saw other people do it. I looked up how they did it. I just couldn't replicate the pattern. And I just got so frustrated. I'm just like, okay, I need to have a cheat to be able to get past this. Just give me infinite life energy and just let me punch the bejesus out of these things.
Yeah, because these things were very difficult. I
And they were
remember trying
fast.
that without cheats. It's
Yeah,
they were
especially
hard.
when you knocked out
Yeah, he
one
really
of
is
them.
fast.
It just goes so much faster and starts shooting more.
Yeah, once you took out one of them, then the last one would go down to the bottom and go back and forth. And it would stop periodically to shoot 3 bombs up in the air that would then go across the level on both sides. You had to be on a tiny little ledge on the bottom left side to somewhat avoid that attack. But it was still only going back and forth below you. So you still had to drop down and like try to throw something or hit it with something to try to just get it. It was a pain.
What a jerk.
It's a pain in the butt.
Whatever it
He's a
is,
jerk.
he. Apparently it's a he.
Yeah,
I don't
it's
know
a
how that's
he.
possible, but okay.
He
I
was
don't-
programmed that way.
Maybe
I
he had a
can't
guy
allow
voice.
You to do that,
Maybe
Batman.
there's a man's voice that came out and said, "You
Batman,
can't do that,
why
Batman.
are you doing Batman?
You can't do that, Batman."
I don't remember seeing these in the movie.
No, they weren't in the movie.
It was
No.
in the outtakes.
This was a side quest, right?
Right.
Hey, I'm sure Tim Burton would have treated these very well if they had been in the movie. If he had Michael Bay's
Budget.
budget for explosions.
Michael Bay's lens flares.
I'm Bayman.
I almost wonder what Tim Burton would have been able to do with a bigger budget and CGI graphics for a lot of this stuff, because I mean there's a lot of villains that would look downright cheesy back in 1989 in just costume, and I'm sure he probably thought that too with his vision, so he wanted to make it more realistic. But I don't know, I kind of wonder with that.
That would be pretty crazy seeing Killer Moth running around and flying on wires around City Hall. That would be pretty interesting.
And George Clooney is Batman.
Oh no!
As it should be.
No,
With the nipples.
bat nipples.
Bulletproof nipples.
my gosh.
We're not going to talk about that. I'm not going to get into that.
It's not sexual at all.
We're still going with 1989 Batman here with Michael Keaton, and he's fine.
Leave the bat nipples alone.
Bat nipple repellent.
Yeah, could use some of that. Use some of that after 1995. So we have the next level, which is level 5. Okay.
We get a cutscene right before that one. It's a nice little shot of the Batwing
Batwing's closing in.
flying around the bell tower. And for some reason, he parks on the bottom floor.
You know, what are you going to do?
Well, it's not a helicopter.
There's no landing spot for the
Yeah, it's not
Batwing.
like he has any kind of... Well, it's not as though he didn't have a grapple gun or something, you know?
Right? He could have just jumped out and grappled his way to the top and didn't have to climb all those stairs.
No, he had to park.
Had to park it.
Had to park.
Hey, at least
You
he
would
didn't
think
get
he'd
shot
have the
down.
you would think he would have the technology to just jump out and park the Batwing remotely. I mean, come on.
No, don't you remember? The autopilot's broken.
Oh, you're going to Dark Knight Rises. Okay, let's just jump there. let's just combine all of these movies together.
Hey, at least he didn't get shot down this time. This time he just lands.
That's true.
You
That's
did.
true.
We start this level down on the very bottom floor of the bell tower. We're having to climb our way all the way up to get to the final boss, which was the Joker. And what's interesting about the level is that the enemies are on the different ledges, and you're having to be a really good wall jumper.
Oh yeah,
to get
yeah,
up
and
there.
then there's the wall jumping in the game, which is kind of cool. I mean, what other game like Ninja Gaiden? That's the only one I can
Came out
think
a
of.
year before that, but yes,
Which is
they
the
probably
similar
inspired.
kind of like you don't jump quite like the way you do in the Batman game. You kind of grapple, right? Versus this one's kind of like they did kind of a
It's
cool
pretty similar.
animation. I mean, it's kind of like a swoop, turn, pivot, and then jump. Whereas Ninja Gaiden was like grapple and then jump off.
And
Yeah, I
it
think-
is kind of similar to Mario, but Mario didn't learn that move until about 7 years later in Super Mario 64.
Took him a little while.
Well, he had to figure out how to center his gravity to be able to use the wall jump.
And he wasn't trained as a ninja in his plumber's academy.
That's true.
So you could wall jump, which is great. And then at this point, you're wall jumping up, and you're going all the way to the top. And then what happens?
And then we come across two bad guys at the very top. The very first one that you have to fight is called Firebug.
Firebug.
Yeah, he's not Killer Moth. He doesn't shoot fireballs at you like the little puny flare gun that Killer Moth has.
Pew pew pew.
Exactly, pew pew. But this one is a giant ball of fire that gets thrown at you, and you have to jump over that. Plus, then he gets really fast, jumps over to you, and just starts punching your daylights out.
Now, this was the one right before the end, right?
Right, yes.
Okay, yeah, because I was just completely dumbfounded when I saw him about who this guy was. He kind of looked like the Shredder,
Right.
but then he also kind of looked like maybe a Predator as well with those fire blasts that he was shooting at you.
He almost did look like Shredder with like how his helmet was, but the almost looks like the half circle coming out from the front, huh?
Yeah, it was the helmet.
Oh man. The manual has a great description of this boss. It cracks me up because when you think about the temperatures that this thing says, you just the only thing you can do is just laugh. So the manual says, the Joker's most trusted bodyguard wants revenge on Batman for personal reasons. Batman defeated his brother, so Firebug will stop at nothing to kill Batman. He can admit 600 million degrees Celsius fireballs that will instantly dissolve anything into atomic pieces. He is definitely Batman's most powerful enemy besides the Joker. 600 million degrees Celsius.
Wow.
I mean, and you can take like what? When you're at full health, like 6 of those shots? I don't know what type of Batman body armor he has that can withstand that type of degree, though. It's almost like he could walk on the sun.
Magic. Bat armor.
That's great. That's hilarious. So then, after we beat Firebug, we then get into the fight with the Joker.
With the long gun.
Yes,
That made the cameo in the movie.
that is an awesome little thing that shows up in the game, is how big that gun is. And the interesting part about that gun, it shoots regular bullets, but then he also has a big shot that actually gets shoot out too.
And not only that, but then it also seems like he can channel some of Thor's power there, too.
Call upon the lightning and thunder.
I have the power of the long gun.
Yeah, for some reason there's lightning being cast down to strike at Batman when I didn't realize Joker had those powers, but okay.
I think I know why. I think he's using, because they're at the top, it's a stormy night, he's using his long gun as a lightning rod, attracting the lightning. But it's not hitting him. For some reason, it's somehow missing him and going after Batman.
But if you carefully listen to the music, you can hear the power of love in the background. And it's the clock tower.
This is Back to the Future style.
What's cool about the end of this fight is it'll seem like when it's done, nothing is moving. You actually have to go and walk up to the body of the
Right.
Joker lying on the
It almost
floor.
looks like the game glitches out because nothing's
little bit,
happening
yeah.
until you walk actually up to him, right?
It's it's almost like a real personal thing that you have to do, which is to walk up to the downed Joker. It's kind of a weird grasp to get around.
Right.
So then when you walk over to Joker, you get the whole sequence of you dance with the devil in the pale moonlight. And it's kind of interesting how that is different than the movie, because in the movie, you get the quote, "Have you ever danced with the devil in the pale moonlight?" And the reason why that's so important is because that's what Joker had said to him when he was killing his parents. We also get that again halfway through the movie, and that's how we find out that Joker was the one who killed his parents. So then Batman says it back to him.
My question to you is this: did he ever rub another man's rhubarb?
I think he did, and that's why he got on Joker's bad side.
Okay.
This is a very dark ending. I mean, if you think about it, because he is literally saying the quote that he said to Bruce when he killed his parents, and then throws him off the balcony, and he falls to his death. Like that. And
which is way different from the movie.
Right.
Because the movie, it was his own hubris that ended up taking him down. He insisted on harassing Batman and Vicky Vale on the ledge until the helicopter came. And it was at that moment that he was able to be grappled to the gargoyle statue. But if he had just, okay, I'm just going to leave you guys here and I'm going to go over here safely away from you
yeah,
and escape
Right.
on my helicopter, he would have gotten away. He would have been gone.
definitely would have gotten away. Yeah.
But this is way different.
Yeah.
I mean, Batman just straight up, and you see that in the cutscene, he just hurls
Yeah,
Joker
he
off
just
the building.
throws him right off, still with the last laugh and smile.
And it's really creepy, too, because his eyes are still open. They got very detailed with those pictures at the end of the game.
They did. They were almost kind of disturbing. I mean, if you were a kid and you saw that part, I mean, that's pretty horrific. Back in
They
1989.
were really going with the darkness of the movie.
Yeah, they did. And I guess this also proves that they did see the movie, these programmers, or they went off of the screenplay
Right.
or the, or information directly from the producers of the movie.
Oh, it'll be a hot time in the old town tonight.
Yeah, and so he's dead. The game is over. And, I mean, it doesn't quite do a thanks for playing, thank goodness, because I'm really sick of that sometimes in these NES games. It's just like, thanks for playing!
Game over, thank you.
So they show credits.
A
And,
winner is you.
Epic music and sequence
Right.
of showing it's over. And I would say it's kind of a rewarding ending, kind of like a movie, And then
Especially
the
that
Bat
you
logo.
Get, yep, the
at
Bat
the
logo.
end. And it felt like you really were Batman for that short period of time, or long period of time, depending how long it took you.
Depending on how many continues it took and how many times you had to restart a level.
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
Right.
At least with this one, sorry, I'm just in such a comparison with Back to the Future because that was such a flusher
Yeah.
that anytime you had to start over, it completely started you over from the beginning of the game. At least with this game, you just started over on the level. You didn't have to restart the entire game over again. So at least that was a real big benefit for me. I just think that there's some mechanics in this game that we're so used to having nowadays that aren't in this. Like being able to change your run speed. You're kind of stuck with a specific speed throughout the entire game. You're used to thinking, oh, well, this is longer than my normal jump. If I'm able to run it, I can jump further and be able to make it. You had to really think about utilizing that wall jump feature.
Right.
And being able to extend your jumping and your distance that way instead of changing your run speed.
Yeah, you couldn't always take a leap that you might think you might be able to make, but then if you drop down or if you jump onto an adjacent ledge, then you could actually make that leap much easier. And in some cases, you were actually able to shortcut through certain stages by jumping on some of the platforms and making it to a higher level without having to go all the way across the screen, going up the easier route, and then coming back across.
Yeah, I remember doing that a couple times, being able to take those shortcuts if you know how high you can jump and where you can wall jump off of it. So being able to be very familiar with those levels becomes very important if you want to make it through fast.
Right.
So guess what time it is?
Tool time?
Review time.
Uh-oh.
Time to review. Here at Retro Game Net, we have come up with the very best, the most genius way to rate a game in terms of replay value and overall interest of the game. Showcase it, which means you love it, you adore it, it means everything to you, and it makes you want to run out to the streets and shout your love, and you want everyone to know it. One and done, which means you liked the time you had with it, but you know it's just not really working out, I'll call you. Maybe not. Or flush it equals toilet paper. So let's start with Josh. What do you think?
Well, I really did enjoy this game. It's really wonderful. The backgrounds are wonderful. The controls. I do enjoy how Batman is able to fight with his enemies, but then also utilize the gadgets that he has as well. And I think that the game, while very difficult in certain areas, it's a very fair game. And when we play a lot of retro games, especially when we've been meeting up, there's a lot of games where it's just the gameplay is just completely unfair, it's unwinnable, and not very enjoyable. And with this game, between the gameplay, the cutscenes, the visual, it is a game that you can play over and over again. I would definitely rate this as a showcase, because this is a game where I could honestly refer this to people and have them have an enjoyable experience. And you're not going to get this the first time you try to play it. It's going to take a little bit of time. You're going to take a little while to understand the levels, the platforms, the map. It's going to take a little while, but as you get more experience in the game, you will enjoy it, and it is something that you can go back to. So that's why I chose that rating.
Yeah, I agree with that. I do also rate this as a showcase it. Something that they did such a great job with the visuals, like Josh said, with the backgrounds. The controls were really good and smooth, really accurate with it. You were able to think of different strategies for the different enemies that you were able to fight against. Plus the music. They did such a good job with the music. The bosses had a great puzzle that you were able to solve with them. You were only really limited to 3 gadgets, but it really gave you a diverse weaponry to be able to figure out how you're going to fight the different bosses. The way they used the pixels to be able to do the cutscenes and the artwork, it just all around looked really great. I compared it to Mega Man a lot and was able to keep it on that level. And Mega Man's one of my favorite games. So I really think if you have the movie, have never tried this game before, it really complements it well. If you have the game but haven't seen the movie, they both complement each other. Go get the movie and watch it and put it out for display if you have your Batman showcase. Put it out there.
Ben, what do you think?
Remember, you are my number one. A game. Not quite the number one game, but it's a great game. Grew up with it. Don't know what else to really say about it other than just I always love the graphics are great. A lot of good colors and shading, and I like the animation. A lot of animation in the background, and the music, of course, Sunsoft, well known for doing a lot of great tunes, and this is no exception. So I'd have to just go ahead and say I'm going to have to showcase it.
I agree with everyone here. I think that this is a major showcase game. It literally is showcased in my Batcave room. I have it fully boxed and on display. I think this game is really awesome, and I don't just say that because I'm a fan, but I think that the mechanics of the game are great. The fact of the wall jump, as I was playing this recently, really made me feel like there's not many games that you can do that. Like, it's kind of cool just to be able to do that. And the gadgets are fine. They're not overwhelming. They're just, 3 to choose from. The game is hard, but if you were to try, even without cheats, it's a good challenge. It's fun. The music's great, which we didn't talk about too much, but it is different from the Danny Elfman score in every way. It's very NES. It's not very theatrical. It is still a game.
Right.
So I'll definitely say showcase it, replay it, display it, do all that good stuff.
Show it to all your friends and family.
So, Ben, do we have anything coming up?
Well, you can check out our official website, www.retrogamenightpodcast.com, where we will announce upcoming events with free prizes. If you live near or are visiting the Ventura/LA counties, come see us. And while you're visiting our website, contact us or leave us a comment, because our next episode will be, what is classified as retro gaming? Do you count PS3 games as retro? Do you start as far back as Atari games? Let us know what you think. We may mention you as we discuss this in our next episode. Please don't forget to subscribe and leave us a rating. It really helps us out and is always appreciated. And that's all I got.
All right, thanks, Ben. So that's going to wrap things up for us tonight. If you'd like to drop us a line, like Ben said, you have our website. If not, there's also Instagram, retro_game night. If you do the Twitter, retro game night 1. Give us your comments, your questions. We'd love to hear from you. But until next time, everybody, until next time, stay saucy.
I'm Batman.
Always remember to smile and put on a happy face.
Put on a happy face.
You're dancing the devil in the pale moonlight.
Always like that bell sound.
It's so great.
Dong. You just know
The way-
this Joker's
and the way
face.
he like flies into it, it's like full body, like. Oh, man.